You know me and risking my life. I went and I recorded a message for like an hour, and I did not stop recording anywhere along the way, hoping Oreta save. I would have been so upset if I had lost that content because of the fact that I'm busy mixing up a moisturizer here in front of you guys to help you along with even that process. And you would have missed out on that whole thing. I would have just been so sad, but I managed to save. Amen. Wait to get computer in. Some days it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. It just turns off on its own. It goes to bed, it sleeps, it yawns. Like Samuel. The Bible says a little sleep and a little slumber and a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will overwhelm you like an armed man and scarcity like a bandit. So please, cease and desist from any such rubbish. Look at this. Look at this monstrosity over here. Too. Let's hope it also nourishes the skin and the hair. There's also sunscreen in here. Mara sunscreen I wonder, wait, see. I wonder why. Ooh, I wonder why. There's something missing somewhere over the rainbow. 1 minute. Yeah, I knew there was something missing. I like my body very, very oiled, very, very moisturized. My face, however, is extremely susceptible to acne, so we don't do hyper oily on the face, but we do on the hair, on the hair and on the body. Okay, anti-break-it. It's like a hair food. Hair food. More body product to add super duper luster and moisture. Teaspoon, how can I teaspoon? Oh, I don't want to use my hands. Oh, because I also don't want to put this in there. Oh, goodness. I'm going to choice. What means I'm doing a choice? Oh, I'll use my hands and then I'll just kind of like grub them into my thingamabobby. Okay, this is what it looks like. Ihe food yakon. Petrolatam. This generation. 10 for the price of one. I mean, I'm going to take this one. Okay, let's put this on the hair because it's ultimately going to go on the hair anyway. Because I'm about to bring down this hairstyle utilizing my new made moisturizer. Yes, I'm that girl full of DIY tactics. Instead of buying a moisturizer on the market, this is what I do. Plus, on top of that, people on the market, like moisturizers on the market, sunscreen in naibule. Let me just spritz some of it in. On the market, they're scared to put like jam pack a product with ingredients, okay? Because they want to make, like, for instance, an olive range. They want to make, they want a tangerine range. They want a marula range. They want a sunflower range, a jojoba range. They want a vitamin E range. They want a vitamin A range. And so they will take an ingredient and put it in one product and then put all other kinds of bulking agents in it. And all you get is that vitamin A or that jojoba or that olive, like, or avocado extract. Instead of putting it all in one, instead of like bulking it in one, causing you therefore to purchase like 20,000 products to get all these ingredients in. So what I'm doing right now is basically getting marula, olive, peppermint, avocado, vitamin E, vitamin A in one product. Because on the market they will never do that because they need to make money. As companies, they need to make money. Like you will find, like when you go to Boma Chinatown, I love the smell of the sunscreen. When you go to a bit of a Chinatown, when somebody's experimenting and so their product is only sold at a Chinatown, they want to start a product range, you will notice that they jam-pack these products of theirs with all of these beautiful ingredients. That's why I shop so much at China. They jam-pack their products with all of these gorgeous ingredients in one because the manufacturer, the guy in question that is selling them is piloting. And so they can only pilot with one product instead of a range. And so they put all of the ingredients, bulking them in one. And then they will advertise it as both a hair cream and as a face hair cream and a body cream and whatnot. And when you read the ingredients list, it's so excellent. And you will underestimate it because of what Chinatown type setup thing. But when you think about the marketing strategy behind, look at how I'm busy spraying the sunscreen in here. When you look at the marketing strategy, so I'm creating an SPF something sunscreen like body lotion here. Okay. Anyway, yeah, when you look at these ingredients, they're so excellent that it's worth a while to purchase it, but you would underestimate it because you go Chinatown, but you're not thinking about the manufacturing strategy behind it. It's all like piloters, lay Janes and Joes that are trying to start a skincare range, like a doctor that's trying to start a skincare range, and he's got to start small. He can't just go like branching out all big, and the only places that will sell his stuff initially are these Chinatowns and what have you. And so therefore you're gonna find this product being very high quality, however for very low prices, not realizing that this guy's piloting. And then once he gets big, that's when all of a sudden he starts separating his vitamin E from his vitamin A, from his niacinamide, from his from his aloe, from his etc etc. So what I'm doing right now is pretty much what an entry-level entrant in the market as a dermatologist starting a skincare range, bulking everything in one, causing a high quality product that ultimately I will, for the sake of like economies of scale and spreading out my product thin, break my product apart into three or four or five different products, where before it was all just one big fat chunky product type thing. So that's why I mix stuff up. I mix it up because I know that never under heaven would you ever go and find a product on the market that is so bulked with all of these ingredients in it, because it does not make financial sense for these organizations to go out like that, because people would then not like see a need to buy 3 products that have got ingredients in them that are in just one product. You get my point? So that's what we're doing over here. Amen. Moving on back to the point, the thing that I was talking about, guys, earlier, the issue with the fly, how it is that I described witches as ones who are like the lead character in the movie The Fly. They experiment with demons until they reach singularity, and they pride themselves in not being scared of things that tend to scare everybody else. The things that everybody else like runs away from, like menacing sightings, ominous poltergeist activity, ghosts, whatever it is that really manifests to people who are involved in the occult. They pride themselves in not being scared. This thing is going to ultimately mix in together nicely with itself as days progress, as the products naturally fuse into one another. For now, it's going to be slightly kind of separated. Days are going to make it mesh in. I know this because I've done it before. It's happened before. So this is what we're going to be using. Yeah, I've done everything here. Let me think. There's nothing extra that I have to add here. This is pretty much it. Yeah, the Omni Gold, I wanted to put it into the body section of this, but then I would have to first segregate the hair section, because I don't want to be putting anything in my hair that has got kojic acid in it. But I don't mind putting it on my body all over. But I'm nervous that it's going to give me Kelly Kumalo vibes. So maybe we should just experiment with just one little bottle, instead of like the whole body, like moisturizing my entire body with something that's going to lighten me. I don't want to be lightened. Or maybe let's just leave it out. I don't know, whatever. Let's just carry on talking. I'll decide as I carry on. Like right now, and soka logo is like a whole tedious process that we're just gonna keep on doing while you're watching me. Yeah, people in the occult keep on dabbling, they keep on experimenting, and the experimentation causes them to develop calluses around their fear receptors, whatever that even means, of ominous scary activity, things that cause other people to sort of kind of jump out of their skin. They pride themselves in over time just kind of taking them in. They are no longer, perturbed by those sightings. They do of course get afflicted by things like nightmares and sleeplessnesses, insomnia, but for them it's like anything at all to get what I want. Ultimately these things torment them, but then the tormentedness sometimes gets them to a point of self-murder, guys. It gets them to ending oneself. It leads them to suicide. I can't say that enough. People in the occult are so incredibly susceptible to suicide. It's not even funny. So I don't even know why like to just continue in such a horrible state, because it is dangerous in the long run. I wish I had a whisker. I do actually, but it's not on me. Yeah, they endure themselves through hauntings, and then they pride themselves in not being scared when something manifests all up in their grill. See, this cream is starting to become nice and creamy looking, so I guess let me keep stirring. My hand is getting too tired. It's getting too tired. Yeah, they pride themselves in not being afraid of that which scares everybody else. And like in the movie The Fly, they end up like in Tinti. Their bodies merge with demons. Oh, come on, no. This thing, young Bora, why does it keep doing this? Their bodies merge with demons, and over the years, their character changes so significantly. Their characters change so significantly to rather match that of the entity. So, what are demons? They're fallen spirits, right, or fallen angels are fallen like out of heaven. They no longer have a chance at life. The Lord says of us in his word that we are born dead in trespasses and sins, and in sin did our parents conceive us, right? However, we are made in the image of God, and while we are still alive, there's still a shot for us to get redeemed and recover to ourselves that which was the original character of Adam and Eve. But after Adam and Eve fell, their now adopted character since they fell was something called the sinful nature. And the sinful nature bears certain fruit according to the scriptures. And you can go and read these fruit in Galatians 5. The fruit of the sinful nature are covetousness, jealousies, whatever's going on in my life causing people to just watch me dwindle, wither away, die, pass on. Covetousness, malice, envy, strife, contentions, witchcraft, rivalries, idolatry, just all different kinds of worthless pursuits. Do you understand what I'm saying? And sexual immoralities. And over time, 1 minute. Over time, it gets worse and worse. Okay, I had to go and do some edits in the middle, so I'm a little bit distracted. Yeah, over time, it gets worse and worse in the sense that the character flaw of the said individual, it just gets worse and worse. Like, if you think about the fruit of the sinful nature, according to Galatians 5, 1 minute. If you think about the fruit of the sinful nature according to Galatians 5, and you magnify them, whatever they might be, dissensions, rivalries, jealousies, strivings, envies, like, let me just highlight jealousy on its own, because that's something that I am personally suffering quite a lot from, and it never used to be like this. I've been jealous before. I've also been jealoused over, if that's even the right adverb, okay? But never in my life have I ever experienced this level of sabotage due to jealousy in my life. Like, it has reached astronomical levels. The Bible says of jealousy that anger, is overwhelming, and fury is a flood. But who can stand before jealousy? Anger is overwhelming. Fury is a flood. But who can stand before jealousy? In other words, jealousy is just so wrathful in and of itself. It inspires so much detestable behavior in human beings that no one can stand before it. So when you are already a jealous chick, do you understand? And because of jealousy, you then go to a sangoma to bewitch your girl's prospects for marriage. You are asking a demon to come inside you of jealousy. You are asking a demon that tends to operate very richly in the vice that is jealousy to come and lodge in you, to therefore magnify the height of what it is that you could potentially do because of being jealous. So now there is no end as to what you would be prepared to do due to being jealous. If at all you were inspired at all, the very first time upon being envious of somebody, to go and bewitch them. Next time you might just kill because of jealousy. Or you will be pretty much the perpetrator against the life of said person looking at you right now. You will be the perpetrator against Karabo. Let's think about what has happened to Karabo's life, my life. I lost everything overnight because of jealousy, because of people who made a decision that I am no longer going to live, that I'm not going to get my husband, I'm not going to get my children, I'm not going to get anything that I want, basically. That was the first spell that they cast. And now, a good decade down the line, almost a decade, people are watching me die. They're waiting for me to die. Rather than me get what I want anyway, because I survived all of their insanity, they would much rather finish this off. That is a jealousy, that was like a little pea-sized jealousy that graduated to being a whole beanstalk. A whole beanstalk. That you're Jack in the beanstalk. It's no longer just a bean or a pea. It is a beanstalk. That's what it is that people's jealousy has become. It has reached the heavens. Do you understand? It is so menacing that no one can stand before it. Anger is overwhelming. Fury is a flood. But who can stand before jealousy? If your jealousy initially led you to sabotaging your girl's marriage, you will never stop with her. To a point where you will watch your girl enter into a car whose engine is malfunctional, knowing that the engine is malfunctional, but because you so envy your friend that she would get into an accident that might leave her with a deformity, and so now you don't have to compete with your girl anymore. You will let your friend put, like, my mom's jealousy is so exorbitant that she watched my acne thrive until I finally found a solution for it, rather than help me along. That's a person who anger is overwhelming in them, so too is fury. But no one can stand against their jealousy. So that's just the one fruit alone. That is just jealousy on its own. How about all the other fruit of the sinful nature that you can think of? First, there is covetousness, right? Envy, jealousy, they all fall within the same category. But then what about sexual immorality? What is the height of what you can do with sexual immorality? You start out, like, I remember when I was in school. Not in school, sorry, Mara, in the early stages of my career with new friends. This one friend of ours, my cousin's friend, if anything, rocked up, complaining, crying, that I already told the story briefly, that her boyfriend spanked her. The new guy that she was dating, when they started to get like down and dirty, he spanked her and she was all upset. She was all upset on some, why the heck did you do that? Like, I'm not a porn set, for crying out loud. I'm not a porn set, for crying out loud. That same girl, 2-3 years down the line, rocked up and told us that she experimented with not the same boyfriend, another guy, with anal sex. The same girl that freaked out when a guy spanked her experimented with anal sex. And we all looked at her on some, whoa, you did what? You let a guy do what to you? And we just looked at her on some, hey, I guess it's the age of the sexual revolution. All of us were shocked because she was the girl that was crying that some dude spanked her. And now she was experimenting with even deeper versions of sexual perversion. That's what's good. So what is the height of what a person that uses witchcraft in order to get sex can do? Here is a man that likes a woman. This chick is not interested in him. He wants to sleep with her high and low. He maybe even wants to make her a girlfriend, and then he goes and takes Ikorobela, a lust spell. Something that is going to cause a severity of sexual lust in a woman for a man. Overnight, when she was not interested in him at first. That man has gone on right ahead to grab an already existing challenge that he has with his sinful nature. His sinful nature already comes packaged with sexual immorality as a fruit. It already comes packaged with certain vices without you having to add singularity to it in demons. Without you having to mess with demons, you are already a liar. Without you having to mess with demons, you're already a fornicator. Without messing with demons, you are already jealous. You are already a reviler. You're already full of slander and gossip. When then you go and you add demons on that, when you use witchcraft, you exacerbate the fruit of the sinful nature. You worsen the height of perversion, of sexual perversion. That's why this world is so sick today. That's why it is so full of sexual perversity today. And that's why people are normalizing things that just 2-3 years ago they found detestable. Now people find it okay and acceptable to be in polyamorous relationships. That is what the height of sexual perversion does. Polyamory, of which is basically the extended version, like the sister cousin of polygamy, in that it basically allows both the man and the woman in question to have as many partners as they want in one relationship. Like, everybody is everybody's girlfriend. Like, there are 5 people in a relationship and they're all dating each other. That's polyamory. Do you understand? Polygamy is, what is this? 1 man, multiple wives. Or perhaps 1 woman, multiple husbands. But polyamory is 1 man, is 5 men, 5 women, all dating each other. Yeah. And that is apparently a sexuality that is acceptable in 2023. And for me, it's like, that is an extension of sexual immorality. It is first people having sex outside of marriage, and now they're having sex with as many people as they want in one relationship. Like, imagine me being in a relationship with 5 guys, and all the 5 guys know I'm in a relationship with them, and they're in a relationship with each other. We're all just dating. So today I'm with Jabu, Kausani, I'm with Tepo, and really, Tepo doesn't have qualms because we're all one relationship. If, however, I go and I have sexual relations with Tamba, who's not part of the polyamorous affair, that's considered cheating. So it's a contract entered into with multiple people, and you can't cheat on them. However, you can have each other, just exchange each other. That is a height of sexual perversion that, frankly, like, you know, the Bible says in Romans 1 that people, with all of their sexual perversions and their sins, keep on inventing new ways to sin. They keep on innovating, brand spanking new ways to sin, and polyamory is an innovation. Since people got worn out, they got exhausted, orgies were not enough, right? So sexual perversions like orgies were already a thing, where it is that people will all have sex with each other, like 5 or 6 or 7 of them in one sitting, and imagine that they're exploring their sexuality. When orgies got old and dry, like a geriatric, when they were no longer, spunky, funky, and exciting, then things like polyamory came in, where now, just like in the orgy, you're having a relationship with 7 guys, and they're all in a relationship with you two, and they are all in a relationship with each other. Everybody in this 10 person relationship is dating. Oh goodness, guys. Yeah, so now you don't even have to have orgies. Just sleep with one boyfriend at 5 p.m. and another one at 7 p.m. and then 2 or 3 of them at 10 p.m. and all of them are in a relationship with each other. And then people pride themselves in being sexually responsible by just making sure that every so often you take HIV tests, you make sure that there's no venereal diseases being spread, and that is the equivalent of sexual responsibility, as opposed to abstinence altogether from having sex with anyone other than your actual husband. Yeah, so people like Karabo, when they live in a society full of polyamorous people, or women who used to freak out when men spanked them, and now they're having anal sex. Yeah, when you look at Karabo, who's still good old-fashioned, chaste for 12 years. It's like such an anomaly. Chaste for 12 whole years, has not had sex ever since, I guess, the last guy that she was with prior to coming to Christ. When you are busy in a polyamorous state, when you're busy having orgies, when you are busy, exchanging partners, when you are busy getting spanked, and when you are busy having anal sex, when you look at somebody that is waiting on Christ to have sex after marriage, you're gonna hate them. According to 2 Timothy 3, those people are called despisers of those who do good. So the world is fast running out of monogamous, chaste people waiting on the Lord for Christ. And so jealousy, no one can stand before it in the presence of such people. Anger is overwhelming and fury is a flood, but who can stand against a mob of women that are jealous of a woman because she has not had some man's nether regions enter the part where her fecal matter comes out? A woman that will never ever allow herself to be spanked by a guy successfully without that guy facing criminal charges. A woman that is waiting on the Lord for a husband, and this man must be Christian, and you're busy getting anal sex. Like, you are gonna have problems with her. You are gonna have problems with her because you have fallen from grace. You have merged with a fly, and now that fly has magnified your sexual deviancy. That fly has magnified your jealous deviancy. That fly has magnified your just whatever degrees and oomphes of perversion in multiple categories that you could possibly walk in. All of that makes you look upon those who do good as they gotta go. You develop a resentment for them. Demons are fallen. They are fallen entities that are cast out of heaven. They can never ever be embraced by a holy God. Demons and fallen angels alike, right? So when you're that finished off, you will, of course, hate everything that is wholesome and that belongs to heaven, including people with the image of God in them. So if you can merge with them and then over time just magnify yourself in them until they look nothing like those in whose image, those made in the image of God. Until these people look like nothing at all of what God made them to be. Do you understand? Then on that day you have essentially reached what would be the equivalent of spiritual singularity. In artificial intelligence, a singularity is this thing that is feared that AI is going to take us all over because it's ultimately going to merge with machines and having its own consciousness and its own mind, do its own thing, and human prompting will no longer be able to stay AI from doing whatever it wants to do. It's called singularity. Yeah, well, human beings, singularity was a thing long before we innovated AI, and this singularity existed in demon-possessed people, where it is that no longer can you see any fragments of independence in a person anymore because of how much they are controlled by spirits, how much their entire life is like encircled by nothing but demonic influence, where it is that this human being has merged almost on a genetic level with an entity to a point where you can no longer recognize Usipho, you cannot find Ujabu, you can't find Utepiso, you have no idea. You do not know where Tabang, where Tabo, where Peter, Le John, Le Paul, Le Tulane, Bagay, because these people are barely recognizable from the first time they dabble with witchcraft. They have changed. They are completely different people. You can't recognize them from 1998. You can't recognize them from 2016. You can't recognize them from just yesterday because they have been messing with entities for so long. When people do witchcraft, they end up addicted to it. That is a plan by the devil, because the more, you can't just walk in singularity from your first spell ever that you cast, unless you are in a hard knock, like incredible, intense, high order entity seance where you're being recruited by the freaking Illuminati or something. But otherwise, most people dabble with, I want to mess my girl's career up, I want to get a job, I want a husband. They start with this amateur stuff, but once you've gotten a taste of success in this regard, you're going to keep going back. The devil makes sure that you develop an addiction to instant gratification, to just getting it now, like quick, fast, masisha type acquisitions, handling people gaditlar, knocking them out the window ever so immediately. My ex-boyfriend Shem is a typical case of singularity. The guy, from what the Lord showed me, he's so different. He is no one. He's nothing like what he used to be before, because once he got even the first taste of success with sorcery, once this stuff worked so well for him that he imagined that this thing manja, I can use it for anything, he just would not stop going back. Dabbled until he was barely recognizable, even settling for stuff that he historically never would have settled for. There are people that have got just a natural character flow by bora from the get-go. That's why they actually even get drawn to witchcraft, because there are people like those, like from out of their mother's wombs, they leave a lot to be desired, right? But there are people who had a sweet history and then one day they just become nasty. My ex-boyfriend was that guy. My cousin, however, my cousin, she's always had a funny, ugly thing in her. So I was not surprised when she went this extreme with darkness, right? My sister, however, sweet. 180-degree transformation because of getting involved in darkness. My ex-boyfriend, my sister, my mom, I can list. I have cousins, her sister, my cousin's sister, the younger sister. Again, another one, singularity. Like people that started out, Suga could never harm a fly. She is loved by everybody. And then she's moody. She is, her man was also like that. My cousin's, the one that became her husband, yeah, that one. He was a sweet guy. He was. Somewhere along the way. Initially, nobody understood what in the world was going on, but I came to learn later on as I grew in grace, as the Lord trained me up, that that's why he became dark. That's why he changed. He started using witchcraft, and so it changed his personality. And for me, it was like, what a loss. Because we had such a good man in there. Like his original makeup, what it is that God gave him was just such a beautiful package. And he went and destroyed it. It wasn't broken, but he went on right ahead and fixed it. I have my former best friend, again, sweetheart. She was such a darling, would never harm a fly. Type of chick that was not even comfortable gossiping other girls. Yeah, and now today, give something. Singularity. I can list so many people that I watched change over the years, and now Angsaba Gandhi, I don't step in their on their toes in their ecosystem, because I don't know what they're gonna manifest. And that's also another thing. They will surprise you too. They will shock the living daylights out of you, in the sense that you might think you're safe for today with them because they're sweet, they're smiling, but fresh for now. And then flying kick. But chincha masisha, guys, they change like the weather, like their moods. You never know what to expect. And so when you're dealing with a person that is that moody, what do? What is your reaction? You tend to be very careful around them. You no longer let yourself go. You don't let your guard down. You don't know what mood is wrong. And as well, when you're in a relationship with a person like that, and by relationship I don't mean just romantic, but just even friendship, you are always stepping on eggshells. And because you're always stepping on eggshells, you then start to avoid them, just so you don't get hurt, because you don't know what you're going to be getting today. When people start to avoid you that way, like the plague, don't you see, on that day, guy, Uguti, now, you're a fly. You went inside a time machine or a teleportation machine with an insect, with a demon. You practiced witchcraft. You entered, you merged yourself, you fused yourself with fallen angels. Not angels. Fallen angels have their own bodies, with demons. You fused yourself with demons. Do you understand? And now they are possessive over the vessel that God gave you to live out your life on earth, otherwise known as your body. Now they are on a mission to reach you unto singularity. Now they are racing against time. You see, the argument with singularity and artificial intelligence is that by many people who quit the industry, they're like, I had to stop because I didn't want to see people go on right ahead and ruin the earth. I don't want people destroying the world. I don't want to watch it happen, not on my watch. And so a lot of the tech giants, tech professionals are quitting their jobs in the tech space because they can see what artificial intelligence is basically getting towards, where it is heading. It is taking the human race to uncharted territory. And so for them, it's like, I don't want to be there to see the stuff getting ransacked, right? So they pull out, they break away, they quit Google, they quit working for Microsoft, they quit working for big tech, essentially. And then they start doing all of these, like, they open YouTube channels and they basically sound a warning about AI and it reaching singularity. They sound warnings, but there are others in this industry who are like, if I were to leave because I see where this thing is going, there's gonna be somebody irresponsible that's gonna take this up and run with it, so I might as well stay so I can monitor it. However, humanity, it is written in God's word that our hearts are deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, so there is no end to telling what it is that we're gonna do. So out of one guy out of 20 guys that has a conscience about AI, that decides to pull away or that decides to stick around in the industry to monitor it, there are 10 others who are nefarious, who don't care what this could mean for the human race because they're trying to make money today. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that there are more evil human beings than there are good ones. There are more evil people that could not care less about the potential long-term ramifications of their actions than there are guys that are actively trying to thwart this. So it doesn't matter how many tech bosses quit their jobs or stay so that they can monitor how far AI goes. Bottom line is there will always be more evil developers, there will always be more evil underground coders, there will always be more evil employees of big tech or even small tech that will be prepared to take this thing to the height of itself, to the end of itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when it comes to the whole thing vele with singularity inside human beings with demons, there will always be people that spot early on that this stuff is not right. Witchcraft, like there are people currently in the country pulling out of witchcraft, pulling out of ubungoma, basically upon waking up to realize this stuff, no, I lunganga. And in so saying that, don't necessarily turn their lives to Jesus. They don't get saved. I don't know how many testimonies of people that have left the New Age and the occult I've listened to on the internet that did not leave the New Age for Christ. They just left it because it was nasty. They basically made an observation of impending singularity. They saw they were changing. They saw that the world around them was changing. They saw that what they were doing was nasty. It was messed up. It was really hurting people in some way. And so they made a willpower decision to just stop, but without Jesus. But understand that there are far fewer people just walking away from the occult purely because it's nasty, and even without Jesus, like without turning their lives over to the true healer, right? They walk away because they realize it's messed up. They start YouTube channels where they're warning the world, guys, yeah, this stuff is dangerous. Don't play with fire. You will get burned. Yeah, that's what's good. Yeah, these people create some awareness, but there will always be way more tarot card readers, way more crystal users, way more spiritists, voodoo priests. There will always be way more witches, way more people experimenting with Ouija boards, with the power of the law of attraction, blah blah. There will always be way more evil people experimenting with a get-rich-quick scheme than there will be sobering people that realize that this thing is a sham and it is ultimately very destructive for it to be controllable in any way. The only way out is Christ. There are, however, people that are trying to break away from witchcraft without Jesus because they realize it's nasty, but they are a small percentage in comparison to the numbers of people that recognize the ill-gotten gain that is to be acquired by witchcraft, that are prepared to basically call the bluff of singularity, tell themselves that when we get there, we get there. And some of them are just greedy, they're selfish, telling themselves, by the time AI reaches singularity, I will be dead. It will ransack essentially my daughter or my much younger sister, but it won't come for me. I'm going to be a nice little geriatric by then. But you see, the thing about the rate of growth of artificial intelligence is that it is so astronomical, so exponential, that it is probably going to catch up with all of us within our lifetimes, and with not even within different decades of our lifetimes. It is likely something that is to catch up with us within the same decade that we are in right now. Like, this is 2023. It is likely by 2030 to be quite a beast. Quite a beast. So you don't even have to reach a new generation. You don't even have to bring a brand spanking new generation baby into the world for AI to start to look really kind of creepy. There are already videos that deep fake on the internet that are so believable, and really frankly it is going to make the provision in courts of video footage as evidence a thing of the past because of deep fake. Do you understand? That for me is already, it's already like deep fake has already taken things too far. The fact that we have gotten there, I feel like the human race just needs to be brought to a blistering end. We need to just die off already. We need to disappear from the earth. Like, the rapture needs to happen because the rate of human innovation unto wickedness has just reached exorbitant levels. Just because you are smart and you are a genius and you can innovate something doesn't mean you should. It doesn't mean you should. Do you understand what I'm saying? There aren't enough moral human beings to make that call, to therefore subdue what would be the equivalent of minority evil people under the monitoring diplomacy of good guys. There are frankly not enough of them. There are frankly not enough non-Christian good guys to subdue and handle and put underneath their little fingers. Do you understand? The wicked. There are too many evil people. I have witnessed an equivalent of impending singularity in almost every person I've ever known in my ecosystem because they found out about witchcraft, and there has not been enough of them, if at all any, that have made a decision to just stop doing witchcraft because they saw utlento lena iyamosha. I've got a cousin that's still investing despite it having yielded such wicked fruit in her life. Her husband has reached conviction that this stuff is nasty, but he hasn't stopped. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, my ex-boyfriend recently, like about 2 or 3 months ago, did a death spell on me because I became embarrassing. In other words, he made an observation that witchcraft does nothing good, and instead of stopping, staying his hand, just staying away in Jafela and basically bearing the consequences of his actions, he chose to continue to push this to see if at all he can't ultimately get away with a murder that he is obviously failing abysmally to get away with right now. My ex-boyfriend is reaching singularity, if not having reached it altogether. My cousin is about to reach singularity to a point where the Lord is gonna kill her if she doesn't repent. Her husband is convicted of sin but does not want to repent. My sister, is properly living in isolation in a shallow little hole, unprepared to confess what's going on, that she might find healing. These people just keep on dabbling and dabbling and dabbling. They are morphing, manifesting into the intensity. Wait, see this thing? Get that? I'll mix it up tomorrow because right now I'm trying to make it super smooth while it's fresh, and it's just not going to become what I want it to be while it is as fresh as it is. Yeah, no, I've got family members and former friends that are recognizing the insanity of sorcery, but they're letting themselves morph into flies altogether. And when you become Ntinsi, when you become a fly altogether, guys, herein lies the deal. Somebody gotta shoot you. You cannot be a life-sized Ntinsi. When I was working at MTN, I dated this random dude for 2 months that put witchcraft on me, right? How God showed me his witchcraft. He was a big fat giant Ntinsi, a fly the size of me, sitting next to me at my grandmother's house. Usually whenever things are shown me in my grandmother's house, I'm being shown regression, I'm being shown backwardness, witchcraft basically in operation. And this guy was in my grandmother's house basically regressing me to being back with him. He was trying to get back together with me, and in my dream all I saw was this giant fly. So had that guy reached singularity, it appears from what the Lord showed me already back then. I don't know what's going on with him today, but he is a professing Christian. That much is true, otherwise I wouldn't have dated him. A professing Christian that is literally, according to heaven, looking like the fly. A professing Christian that in the sight of God looks like Ntinti. In other words, he's reached singularity. In the sight of God, he's as good as being a fly. He has merged with entities so much that nothing of him is left anymore to operate. Now he works on nothing but witchcraft. Now everything he wants, it's witchcraft. Everything he needs, it's witchcraft. Every desire in his life is sparked into existence by witchcraft. You cannot lean on sorcery for everything. You will never know what's authentic and what isn't. So I'm trying to call people who are headed for singularity to Christ on some, do you not see you're getting taken over by entities? If at all you cannot recognize yourself today from who it is that you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if at all you are a woman that is suddenly allowing yourself to have a man ram into her from the back, goodness gracious, anal sex when I was on the come up, all of us, not even some, were just like it was not even a discussion point in topics between girls. When we were talking about sex, baby, let's talk about you and me, it was never. The one thing that we were toggling with whether or not we were prepared to do it was oral sex. Would you be prepared to give a guy head? Would you be prepared to do fellatio? Would you? Oh my goodness, I don't know. I don't want to swallow. That's what we spoke about. But like anal sex was just like something there. Like it was stuff that gay guys did. That's all that we knew. But now it is apparently a whole discussion in bedrooms of heterosexual couples. Sexual perversion. Same women that would never have allowed that to happen are allowing men to experiment with them because they watch so much porn that they're not satisfied with a woman's like proper pocket that God gave for men to enter into. They want something else. Women are allowing themselves to be experimented on by men with basically gay fetishes. They watch so much porn that they can't help but not go out like that. It's a sexual perversion, and only when you are in Christ do you see it for what it is. When you are in Christ, do you recognize how far the world has fallen. When you are in the Lord Jesus Christ, uyabona, when stuff is like rotten. But these people are not even trying to come to Jesus. When are you just seeing yourself in Jeffela as a woman that all of a sudden with your husband or with your boyfriend, you are doing that? You are allowing a man to do that to you because, hey, it's a sexual revolution and this is not 1902. You're telling yourself this is not 1902. That hole was never supposed to be used for sex. Otherwise, you would have been able to have a baby that way, but you can't. It's a sexual perversion. Do you understand? But it is being taken up more and more because of singularity. People are using so much witchcraft that they can't even realize that this sorcery has made out of them men and women that are barely recognizable anymore. This thing is starting to look so much like a beautiful cream now. Men and women are barely recognizable. Do you understand? Who it is that you used to be has changed, and you think that you've just matured, or you have grown, or you've gotten loosened. You're less stiff-necked. You're less uptight. Yeah, that's what you say. You think Uguti, you're less uptight, except according to God, you have fallen even farther from where it is that you started out. It was over before it started. For us as the human race, we are born dead we are born dead in trespasses and sins. So essentially it's over before it even starts. Therefore, when you decline in character over the years, you are going into the abyss, don't you see? You are born on a flat earth. Not a flat earth, the earth is round, but what I wanted to say is on a flat surface. You are walking on a flat surface, and as the years progress, you sink, evidencing that you're going to hell. Your morals chip away over time, and you just become looser and looser. The number of women that are currently experimenting with relations with women, the number of men, let me just speak to the women in particular. When I was on the come up, I didn't even know a single lesbian, but I knew about 2 or 3 gay guys, alright? But now, the number of women that are experimenting with lesbian relationships is out of this world. Women that are allowing themselves to have crushes on other women that are allowing themselves to fantasize about such things with women that are watching pornography in that regard. Basically porn where women are doing whatever with each other, using whatever props. Women that are just allowing their minds to wander, and women that are also allowing themselves to consider it okay to look at another woman and comment about her beauty the way that a man would. So when a woman sees a beautiful woman, she says, whoa, she's so pretty, she's beautiful, she has a great body. But a woman should not go on right ahead to continue to describe what under heaven, if I was a guy, I would hit that. If I was a guy, that's basically inviting yourself to now fantasize about women the same way that men fantasize about women. Like you cannot look at women the same way that you look at men. It just cannot be allowed to thrive in you. And women are thinking that no, it's normal because they're being taught or trained by Netflix. They're being taught or trained by the far left organizations and entities of the earth that are trying to convince everybody that whatever it is that wasn't broken needs fixing. Whatever it is that wasn't broken needs fixing. Like, this thing is properly out here in these streets, thoroughly massacring my hand with exhaustion, my arm, but it's cool. I'm trying to smooth it out, like prematurely. I should wait until tomorrow, but it's nice to watch it and say sokwa like that. Anyway, don't you think it's cute? Don't you think it's pretty? Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so witchcraft causes people to expedite or catalyze that thing. You could already be nasty experimenting with things that don't make sense here on this planet of ours prior to you dabbling with witchcraft, but the moment you use witchcraft, the more this entity that is inside your body, because there's no way you can use witchcraft without getting a demon in your body. Yeah, this entity will then magnify all the other things that you're generally experimenting with in life. Everything else that you're having an issue with. Your jealousy issue is going to be magnified. Your issue with attraction to, or rather, desire for experimentation with women as a woman, that'll be magnified. Your sexual perversion, experimentation with your boyfriend yako, with all different kinds of weird things in the bedroom, that's going to get worse and worse. Like, things are just going to get darker and darker and darker. A couple that never used to watch porn will all of a sudden start like proper sitting around on a Friday evening with popcorn and they're watching a movie, but like they're watching pornography. Stuff like that will keep on ramping up and ramping up. The more you visit a sangoma, the more you have a desire for it. These things latch onto you like an addiction. The moment you take your first drag, the moment you take your first schnoff of it up your nose, like a drug, you will be hooked. And it is that hooking that ultimately tends you towards singularity. So, batakatindini, ni grand njewe o ukuyenzwa impogan. Are you okay with ending up like flies? Okay, this thing mean I'm gonna stop mixing it because it's super duper 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 duper. I wanna make it super smooth, but I'm pretty sure that I can't do that tonight. It's only gonna become as smooth as I want it to become tomorrow, maybe even 3 days from now. But I have made my beautiful hair cream that's not mixing as well as I wanted to mix. I'm already done, so let's just like get straight into doing my hair now, because been wanting to do my hair. I don't even think I'm gonna be here to finish doing the hair. All of this hair like tonight, okay? It's already 9 at night, and that just really bugs me, like the Mpugani that a lot of people are. No, but before, let me not do my hair yet. Let me just put this thing in its containers, and I'll mix it up, finish and clutter in its containers. Yeah, some other day to finish the mixing process. But that's the final product, you guys. That is my hair cream, my hair, my body butter, my hair cream. It's a whole bunch of it. It should last me a good few months. Then I won't have to mix it up. Hi fella, I get lazy to make it again, or I don't have ingredients, and when I don't have ingredients I'm all sad, and so I end up just moisturizing myself. It's just like basic aqua's cream, and it's just nasty. It doesn't make sense, like even in the slightest. But anyway, yeah, that's what it looks like. Combo of everything, total violent nourishment, absolutely wealthy for the skin, so I don't gotta be an ashy bean anymore. Have you ever met an ashy bean? Do beans get ashy? I guess so, if they're the beanstalk that gets really big because of singularity and their name is not Jack. Okay, yeah, no, like proper. It does not make any sense, guys. The stuff that you are into cannot work. It cannot work indefinitely. Like, how under heaven are you content with the destruction of friends and family? Why aren't you waking up to smell the coffee? Why aren't you waking up to realize that you are reaching singularity? Your character is currently such that the way that you used to care anymore. You don't care the way that you used to care anymore. And you think that that just is something that has made you a stronger person, in that you are, people are not going to step on your toes as easily anymore because of the fact that Ausenandaba as much as you used to care. When you stop caring about people you ought to care about, that is evidence of a moral degradation. Do you understand? That is kind of like a hospital case. It is a little bit of an emergency for your soul. Like, it is something that you should basically try to see if you can't see a specialist concerning. The Bible says of humanity in the last days, especially you there sitting around calling yourself Mzalwani, a Christian, that there is going to be a great apostasy in the last days, where people are going to basically depart from the faith and give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. Now, what these seducing spirits are the very things that sometimes you invite into your bodies. They are in you, and they are seducing you to disregard a travesty in the room when it is gawking at you. These seducing spirits are literally calling you to violate your neighbor, to disregard your child, to ignore your best friend. 1 minute. These seducing spirits are telling you to murder your wife. They are telling you to ignore the pimple on your daughter's face and not take her to a dermatologist because you that jealous, freaky, narcissistic mom. These seducing spirits and these doctrines of demons are telling you that it's every man for himself, when a woman like Karabo is suffering like no man's business, and you grew up with her, you broke bread with a chick, you used to hang out, goodness, you partied together, what is going on? And now you're literally sitting around outside of my life. I'm like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill now. I'm in a casket trying to scrape my way out of it, like box it out. Proper. Kinse ke sebedisa di lessons tsa Pai Mei, or is it Master Pai, whatever. You know that guy that trained Uma Thurman in Kill Bill? Yeah. All she could do was think of the lessons that she was trained to get out of a casket that her friends buried her in. The Deadly Vipers Assassination Club that killed Uma Thurman because she wanted to go and basically live a non-assassin's life. The reason why Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, that Omni Gold, I'm torn as to whether or not I should mix it in here. No, I'll leave it as a separate thing because it did so much for my kumas fatlhong saka that I'm concerned. Yeah, no, the reason why she left the Deadly Vipers Assassination Club to go and just marry was because she was living a rough life as an assassin, and she found out she was pregnant. So she did not want to subjugate her child to the tyranny of that, so she left. They did not know that, however, and they then came for her because she quit the job of being an assassin. In other words, the equivalent of that in Christian terms is you wake up to realize that you are born dead in trespasses and sins and you're headed to hell. And you don't want anything of that nature. You want to raise children in the admonition of the Lord. You don't want the debauched life that you and your girls were always roaming around in. And so you choose Jesus to basically fashion a future for you. And you leave the Deadly Vipers Assassination Club because I ain't going out like that anymore. I'm a woman in her mid-20s, and frankly I want a life, a future where I used to observe my uncle and my aunt, right, the last remaining and only married couple in the family amidst the elderly, right? And my uncle and my aunt are still hosting drunken parties. They're still like getting drunk. My uncle is still a drunk. Like they are still basically like there is an older version. When I look at my uncle and my aunt, I saw an older version of what my friends, my crew of hangout like guys and girls were doing. I saw that in my uncle. It was like, so Sizokula, still going to Amapraisi Dagwa, talking rubbish and raising children in an atmosphere. I grew up, of course, I missed my parents, right? And my uncle as well, and aunt, and what have you. And I don't know how many parties as a child I was in the midst of that were hosted by my parents or my uncle and his wife, and it was loud, guys. And these adults were like playing these Roberta Fleck, you know, the Luther van Ross, Zabon. This music that they were listening to, having these toddler children, these preteens, these preschoolers living among them, and it's a Saturday night, and it's 1, 2, 3 a.m. and it's like boof, 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 music outside, and the kids are in the bedrooms. They hang out with each other until they get tired and they sleep. And when they go out just to use the bathroom, they happen upon some drunk uncle that's like, hello, Nana. And, he's giving you a sloppy kiss that smells of just beer. And then you go to the bathroom. Sometimes they might even call you on some, and that man is looking so drunk, like his eyes are bloodshot red. And he is like unable to keep his balance. The way he is so drunk, and he's busy playing around with the little children. Ansama, look at you, little Karabo. Look at you, little Tamba. Oh, you are growing. Hey, last time you saw me, you were still a baby, and they are so drunk. There's cigarette smoke everywhere, and it's loud, and it's just partying by parents that have never really truly grown up now that they have children. Memories of that, and also observation of my uncle and aunt, and even my moms and them, aunties, even well into our grown-up years. Now we're in our 20s, and they are now ampur gogo, ampur nkhono, right? Yet to have children, us, but our parents are basically about to be grandparents now, and they're still doing the same thing. They're still getting drunk, but this time around their kids are out of home. This time around their kids are big, and this time around their kids are also sometimes drinking with the dad. They're partaking with the father in this debauchery, and I just looked at this and I was like, I don't want that. I looked at that and I was like, that's not my life. I don't want my children being closed in a bedroom where they cannot sleep properly on a Saturday night because music is pumping heavy outside, where mom and dad are hosting a bunch of drunkard moms and dads friends at a braai, and every so often when my kids go out to use the bathroom, they meet one of my friends who, very drunk and barely able to keep her balance, is like, hello, little Hotatso. You're so cute. How old are you now? 9. Oh, last time I saw you, you were just 2. And my kid is like, hey, okay, auntie. And this person is drunk out of her mind, or it's auntie's husband. And it's like, oh, cigarette, come on, wine. And it's just loud. And it's happening like maybe like 2 weekends out of a month. 2 weekends out of a month. Like, I can't. Like, I saw that and I was like, as in, I'm gonna be my uncle and aunt one of these days if I end up in this lifestyle, if I stick around in it. So when I wanted to start a family, when I wanted to get married, I chose Jesus. Because I realized there's an atmosphere out here in these streets where parents don't go out like that in front of kids. Children will always have the innocence of a household where mom and dad are all very sober people, where everybody in the room does not drink, where nobody is bringing grown adults along to yell and shout all the way up until 3 a.m. in the morning and then talk to children who don't even know them about how it is that last time they saw them they were only 2 years old. Look, it's okay to have kids endure that. Every child goes through the strange aunt they don't recognize, telling them the last time they saw them they were 2 years old. But I'm not trying to have that strange aunt be drunk. I'm not trying to have that strange aunt be holding a cigarette in her hand while talking to my child. I'm not trying to have that strange aunt be just debauched like a person with loose morals. What in the world under heaven are you teaching children? I did not want that for the life of me. I wanted a sober household where kids are going to church every Sunday and like Sunday that they eat, they play in churches. I wanted kids growing up go youth. That's one thing that I was really gunning for. I wanted kids that would grow up attending the camp and also being go youth a lot, because I imagined that was something that would get kids out of parties. I wanted children that would know the church in and out, like always just be a son twin, like yeah. And it's fun because they're growing up with other kids that are also in the church. I wanted kids that knew youth group, because the thing as well get a youth group is they tend to tap into children's talents, like musical talent, singing. If the kids can sing, they join little choirs, they do little stunts, they do drama, they do whatever. I mean, when I was at school, guys were, oh yes, can we please have a discussion? I like how this thing is just kind of mixing. It's getting smoother, but whatever. Yeah, no, I could sing like from as far back as I could remember, and I've always been kind of dramatic, but I was very shy. I was violently shy. Like, I was so incredibly in the closet. I was like the teeny weeny incy weensy yellow polka dot bikini. I was afraid to come out of the water. I was always so scared to come out of the water. You guys, it was ridiculous how shy I was when I was a kid. It was frankly a crime. It was a crime. Guys, I was scared to talk. I would be hanging out with a whole bunch of other kids and I would say nothing the whole time. The whole time. I would say nothing. I remember one guy teasing me saying, yo, Karabo, if you don't start talking, you're gonna get bad breath. Because when people don't talk, they get halitosis. That's why I was saying bad breath. You need to open your mouth, girl, like talk. I was so shy. The only time that I was ever talking was if I was with like people that I knew, like cousins, very close friends from high school, people that you got to know. So you could just always talk with them type thing. But around new people, yes, like it, you would think I was a special needs kid. You would think I was a special needs child, the way that I was so shy. I did not talk to people. And my girls from high school would not know that because, like I said, once I knew them, I was all over the show. But around new folk, which my cousin always used to send me around, I was always very quiet. They also would vouch for that. This loquacious, verbose lady that is gawking at you now on YouTube, they'll probably be like, yo, kante Karabo, keep big mouth kahakana, kante big yeah. Once and for all. Yeah, no, I was quiet. I was very shy. But you see, a kid like that, if my child were to be born like me, I'll be very shy. Shyness tends to be eradicated by company that a person knows. And if you raise a child in a church, it's a community that basically, if they grow up together, they know each other. And so things come out. Because of how shy I was, I could never just break out into song. I could never just break out into some lyrical juice. I could never, even at varsity, join little battles, rap or whatever. Even though I'm quite the lyricist, I could never do that because I was so shy. And the shyness also bred in my bones the what is this, tula, like stutters. It brought stutters on board. It made me muffle around and mumble around my words in a way that when I'm standing in front of the mirror, I'm quite fluent, I'm articulate, but then I will stand in front of people and all of a sudden, yeah, that thing, over time, it got ironed out. Over time, ever so gradually, and it was hard. I had to work on it because in corporate, there was no way that I was ever going to grow in my career if I stuck to that. I had a gift that no one under heaven knew I had. No one knew I had it because I was so shy. But you see, there are environments that you can raise children in that will bring that out before they get to 25, 23, 24. I only worked on my shy issue when I was older because I realized that it's gonna mess with my career if I don't work on it. But what in the world would I have achieved as a kid in primary school? Guys, if at all I had sang my heart out in primary school, if I had sang my heart out in high school, if I continued to insist, another thing, I would enter competitions, and if at all I didn't get anywhere, I wouldn't try again. So a lot of my talents that I suspected I had, I started with them, like here's where I put some of the butter. I started and then I just stopped. I stopped because I did not win a competition. I never went for further training. I never got, chiseled, filed down. Not filed down, but, chiseled. Yeah, that's the right word. I never got, basically groomed to grow. Right? I wasn't told keep pushing. Like, for instance, when I was in primary school, I joined Miss Winchester Ridge primary school and I was in the top 5, and because I didn't win or become second princess or first princess or whatever, I was so hurt by losing. I was so hurt by losing that I never ever again ever allowed myself to take any advice at all to enter any pageants. Every year in high school, from grade 8 to matric, around Mr. John, people would be like, go enter, go join. And all I could think about was, what in the world happened? Go Mr. John, Miss Winchester Ridge primary. I lost. I came number 5. And I was like, I'm not about to go and beat Mina. Like, looking at the girl that won, wondering, what is it about me that sucks so bad? What is it about me that sucks so bad? There was a girl that was in my primary school, she was an Indian girl. She was in my primary school and she also went to my high school, and she entered the same Miss, the same Miss Winchester Ridge that I entered, right? We were in the same grade. She got nowhere. I got to top 5, right? This chick kept entering pageants like year on year. Like, she entered like she would enter pageants outside of school. Like, she was always entering funny little Miss Lenasia, Miss whatever, and she would come whatever it is that she would come wherever she was at. One year she made a decision to enter Mr. John. I think it was in grade 10 or 11. She was in my class from grade 8, and when she entered, I was like, girl, like, come on, you didn't even, what is this? You didn't even get anywhere. Come Miss Winchester Ridge when we were in primary school. What makes you think you're gonna win Mr. John? This is high school. The stakes are even higher. That chick had been so trained in pageantry by the time she entered Mr. John in grade 10 or 11 that she won. She won. When she won, I was like, what? You actually won. Like, you actually won. But in primary school, she was behind. She didn't even make the top 5 that I made. So essentially, that Mr. John Indian girl that was in my high school and primary school was evidence of the fact of what happens when a child gets groomed. When you teach them, when you train them, they can actually like get to a point where they have so much confidence in themselves. The sky's the limit. They don't give up, and then they come out tops. She won. I was like, congratulations, good for you. But I'm not about to go and break my heart like proper, joining pageants, losing, and then having somebody be like, oh, sorry nana, number 5 at least is not number mchela. When a kid gets groomed, never mind, even with Mr. John, even with singing, there was this, when I was in grade 11, there was at my school they did a pop stars or pop idol. It was fashioned against these music talent shows in the country, like South African Idol or whatnot. And I had, in grade 8, auditioned for the choir in my high school, and I didn't make it. And I was like, Yes, then like wait again, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. But then because I kept on singing in front of the mirror, when they did Pop Stars, I was like, okay, it's just a competition that's a once-off. It's not like the choir. I'm not gonna try and be part of the choir because they keep rejecting me go choiring. They rejected me go choiring go primary school. In primary school, they rejected me in the choir. In high school, they rejected me in the choir go grade 8. And when they rejected me in the choirs of both primary school and high school, even though I auditioned and practiced like no man's business in front of the mirror, I was like, no, I can't sing. We're not doing this. I'm not going to allow myself you're disappointed as a little child and have my dreams crushed into a fine powder and then like basically just think I'm the scum of the uncomfortable earth. That's what I done told myself as a nice little lady. But in grade 11, I was like, I had a more life thing. My mom had told me to join South African Idol. And I was like, yo, man, who was the main guy at the time? Wooden mic voice. I'm not doing it. So I never joined the official one, but I was like, hey, I can do it in my school where it's not South Africa that's going to be looking at me, but just these random Sir John Adam Knights, these random high school students that will never remember me again for the rest of their lives. But I don't want to be permanently put on YouTube as a video of a wooden mic audition years down the line as South Africa's worst talent or whatever. I'm not going on TV. Like, I could go tell Juana, go TV. I'm not doing it. I'm not even like, I imagine myself getting kicked out of this round or something, like not even getting anywhere. So I joined Sir John Pop Stars or whatever. Okay, yeah, Sir John Pop Stars, and I auditioned Kapinayam Aliyah. How could the one I gave my heart to break my heart so bad? How could the one I was so true to just tell me lies? Yeah, I auditioned a 4-page letter. I'm sending you a 4-page letter. Was it 4-page letter? Mama always told me to be whatever. It was some Aliyah song. Okay, I auditioned Guyona, and I made it past the first round. I was like, the same music teacher that I auditioned in front of in grade 8 wanting to join her choir put me to the second round. And I remember I was tempted to be like, ma'am, why in grade 8 didn't you let me go in? Because I also auditioned for the choir. Why ma'am? Why? Anyway, I never asked ma'am. Ma'am let me go through, right? And then now it was the main like I said, I was in second round 2. There were a total of 3 rounds, ne? And round 2, I was booted out. Yo, guys, yes, sorry, hard. Second round, I didn't make it to third round. And all that happened because of me not making it to third round was looking at everybody that made it to third round, fourth round. There were 4 rounds, yeah, everybody that made it to the finals and even the third round. I was so envious of them. I was so jealous and I was so sad, and I thought I couldn't sing in comparison to those girls. So I basically just kind of stopped singing. I stopped. I was like, hey, Oscar Foster, get out Bubina. I also had a friend like that who auditioned for, what do you call this? She auditioned for You're Not Pop Stars that thing, and she didn't even make it past the first round that I made it past, and she stopped singing. And that she could sing so well. One of my friends from high school, but like somebody just did not quite hear that she could sing. Yeah, well, the thing about having a church family is that stuff like that, you're encouraged to keep trying and trying and trying and trying. When you have a community of people that are always coming up with skits and doing little dance tricks and doing little shows for, what do you call this, for the church, like the little children's churches, what do you call this, like has a talent show, and they cause all different kinds of little girls and boys to sing and do whatever. Kids develop talents without too much criticism. And they all get so included and so involved and so made part of the whole big camaraderie thing that everybody is doing, that they don't give up. And then as their vocals improve over the years, as their acting and their singing improves over the years, they then are clearly talented now because they have been allowed to keep on singing. And so now nobody can deny that, this chick can hit some notes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people's voices develop over very many years, and mine was one of those. I was kind of flattish in primary school. I was kind of flattish in the beginning of high school. It got better at the latter part of high school to a point where I made it past round 1 of some competition. And now that I'm 39, I believe I have improved significantly from what it is that I used to be. But if I had been made to train every single day, it wouldn't have taken so many years to get me to a certain level. If I had been basically a part of a choir, a part of a dream team, I would have gotten kind of far, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, no, Maraka was made to stop singing because only Pizianza Blobile Godi night labong. I told they very shy, unable to come up for air, not speaking to anybody, scared of the guys, scared of the girls, and nobody really even knew what in the world under heaven was dwelling in this kid. But if I was part of a church, if my parents had taken me to school, not to school, to church every Sunday, if at all I belonged to youth group, if I belonged to some children's church, guys, from the time I was a child, I was going to enter little competitions until I shone as the star that I obviously was. And I did not want my children to miss out on the star quality that they had to go out there and be lead choir members in a church because they were the best. Due to the fact that as kids, when they're first out of my womb, they're kind of insecure, they're shy, and they don't want to project forward their talent that much. But if they're in an environment that is going to encourage the living daylights out of them, they were going to come out here in these streets hitting some high notes that they never even knew they could hit. I was going to give them that attention, and I was also going to put them in an environment that was not too critical of their talents until they grew into them. Yeah. Because I made observations that I was in the wrong space. And having made those observations, I then made a decision to choose Jesus because it was the best place to raise children and also bring out all their talents. Hey, Batung. Yeah. And then these rando buffoons that stayed behind in the world were like, bah, not on my watch. Next part.